Hello, and we are live. This is Die Bundesliga show, and we will be reviewing match week 16. It's a bit of a weird one. We're at a weird time because it's another English week, another thing that the English have buggered up for those in Europe, which means that there are midweek games in Germany. There's a game kicking off at 5:30 p.m. English time today, which is Mönchengladbach versus, I can't remember off the top of my head. And then there'll be other games throughout the evening today and games tomorrow, which means it would have made no sense for us to go at our usual time because there'd have been games played after the games that we're reviewing, and it would have just been a bit of a Here we are today at the new time of 1 p.m. I'm joined, obviously, by the lovely Florian Wolfram. How you doing, Flo?
I'm fine. Lovely time to spend the work like this.
Yeah, I think he's going to be whispering throughout most of the show so his boss don't find out he's not doing any work.
Yeah, I closed the door.
And obviously we have Gav Mack from Two Up Top Football as well. How you doing, Gav?
Yeah, I'm all right. This is my lunchtime, so I thought I might as well have a swift half while we're doing it.
Fair enough. As always, you can find us on the socials. You have at TFB Dugout for the Football Dugout. That's me. At Two Up Top Football for Gav Mack and the lads at Two Up Top. That's him just down there. And then you have Senor _Loberon on Instagram for Florian. Shall we get into it, lads? Shall we go straight into it?
Let's go!
Wow. Okay.
Wow.
We better shall not.
Yeah.
And that's it for Flo today. Thank you very much for watching and goodbye.
And here we are, starting off with Union Berlin versus Bayer Leverkusen. Union Berlin, who are the success story of the Bundesliga this season, and they show no signs of slowing down. Another 3 points here against Florian's Bayer Leverkusen. I'll come to you first, Flo. Thoughts on this game, my friend? How do you think your boys did?
Yeah, I think the first half Leverkusen was the better team, but they didn't force it enough to score a goal. They hadn't so much clear chances. And in the second half, it was an open game. Union Berlin had some promising counter-attacks and they should have scored the leading goal a couple of minutes before because Teuchert already had 2 or 3 big chances running towards Radetzky. I believe he hit the post once, the inside of the post, and the ball went out again. So it was a little bit lucky for Leverkusen. It was just 0-0. And in the end, you may not concede a goal like this. If you have the ambitions of Bayer Leverkusen, you must behave more cleverly during the last minutes of the game. And the way Jonathan Tah defended that goal was just childish when he made the 360-degree turnaround around himself. And he isn't the fastest one anyhow, and lost very important meters towards Teuchert. He should have pulled off a tactical foul from my point of view, but I believe he was afraid of getting another red card after he got a red card during the week in the cup game against Frankfurt.
Yeah, Jonathan Tah's not necessarily having the best of seasons. I see him every other week making little mistakes, and he was someone with a big reputation coming into this season. A lot of people thought he was going to leave. He's not doing too well for himself if that's the case. Let's talk about Union Berlin. I'll come to you, Gav. When or if will this momentum stop? Are they seriously going to end up in the Champions League at the end of this season?
Wait, they're cruising, aren't they? They're loving life. And they just... Last season, they looked scared. Well, this is their 50th game in the Bundesliga as well. So they've never played Bundesliga football. This is their first foray up in the big time. And last season, it was like, I don't know. They're going to be odds on to go down. I think we even said it at the beginning of the season that they're going to be one of the teams. They're probably occupied 16th. That's what we sort of alluded to. But they just don't care. And like what was mad at the end of last season, after lockdown and that, I was thinking, right, they are going to struggle without their fans there. And I thought that was their driving force. I thought that they weren't just the 12th man. I thought they were the second up to the 11th man, But without the crowd, they're just playing football. And I said as well at the beginning of the season that there are aging teams where people go to die, but they've got young players there now, and they all want to play for each other. They all have the same belief and the same drive. They haven't got, they've got good players. Don't get me wrong, but like they haven't got, like a couple of world leaders that you think, oh, they might be able to go on and do something special somewhere else. They just all play the game together, and they're actually they're actually quite a joy to watch. I would have thought they would be quite boring. I mean, like how Sheffield United were last season. I thought, well, this season I should say. I thought that's what they would be like, and they're not. It's going to go on, and I can't see why they can't get a European spot now. Champions League might be a bit of a push though.
Yeah, well, you know what's funny as well is obviously we said last season that they didn't play the best football and they brought in some signings this season. I mean, mostly Max Kruse, who was on fire at the beginning of the season, but he's been out, and they've just continued in the same vein. It's a testament to them and the work that's being done there at Union Berlin. We'll move on from that one, and we'll move on to our next game, which is Dortmund versus Mainz.
Maybe there's a slight story, which you, I believe, didn't heard of, because there was quite a racism scandal after the match, which I guess could be very interesting.
Well, Union and Bayern.
Yeah, there were a couple of discussions right after the final whistle, and apparently Florian Hübner, the centre back from Union Berlin, said to Nadim Amiri, who's from Afghanistan, like, you shit Afghan guy. I don't know how to translate it exactly in English. Something towards his cultural background, and Nadim Amiri was fury after that, and Jonathan Dahl spoke about it afterwards in the post-match interview. Now the DFB, the German Football Association, is investigating, and we will see what happens. But I can imagine that Amiri was not quite an angel on the pitch.
Oh, okay.
A little bit edgy.
So
maybe he said something like
provoked.
a bitch, or I don't know. Yeah, I can imagine he provoked him. And Florian Hübner has a wife with origin from India, so it's quite a discussion at the moment. But whether he's racist or not, I guess he's obviously not racist. But people don't get the point. The point is that what he said, if he said it, was just a racist sentence, and this has no room on the pitch.
Yeah.
So,
well, you'd like to think that if, after an investigation, if it's found that he has said anything along those lines, that he will be punished severely, as he should. Yeah. So that's something to keep an eye out on and see how the German FA deal with that. Because we know within football circles, a lot of these times when instances like this happen, the punishment's very, very weak. And we have to start seeing a lot more severe punishment for these things. So let's move on to Dortmund versus Mainz, and Dortmund, who have been doing pretty well under the new manager, will feel that this is points dropped. At home to a side that are struggling in Mainz, you'd expect 3 points, and really they should have had the 3 points. They went a goal down against the run of play. Öztunali with a brilliant goal.
What a goal!
Of a goal.
Goal of the weekend.
Yeah, I mean, Dortmund should have probably been 2 or 3 up at that stage already. They had a goal disallowed, rightfully so, for Haaland, who we will speak about in a moment. They managed to get back in the game from Meunier, and then had the golden chance from the spot to take the lead, and Marco Reus put it probably a couple of feet wide. It was a terrible penalty, absolutely horrible penalty. I don't understand. When someone of that quality misses the target by that much, that's inexcusable.
It's annoying because it happened with Kevin De Bruyne not too long ago, and no one spoke about it. And it's happened with Royce, and no one's going to speak about it as much as they should, because you're right, they are talented individuals, and you're 12 yards out with no one in front of you other than the goalkeeper. You can take a bad penalty if you want, and the keeper saves it, or it can trickle in the back of the net in the end. But you have to hit the target from 12 yards out.
Minimum requirement, hit the target.
I believe this is a matter of concentration.
Yeah.
So I think those players, they can hit 3 in 50 yards away, but they don't hit the target, the goal in 11 meters. It's just concentration-wise. But, if they're not focused enough, they don't deserve it to win. And this Öztunali goal was just brilliant. This goal deserved a point for Mainz. And since I went to school together with Levin Öztunali, and we finished school together, some would say he learned it from me. Some would say
any claim to fame. Any
do
claim to
you
fame.
say he learned it from you, or would you be a little bit more?
What?
He didn't learn it from Flo. He's a centre half. He don't know how to take penalties, man.
I guess it's rather that Royce learned the penalty from me than Levin Tonali learned how to score a goal like this from me.
Great. Let's talk briefly on Mainz before we get into Dortmund and dissect Dortmund. Mainz, they were under the cosh, but they had some good chances themselves. They had some really good chances to score, and probably one chance that they did score, there wasn't even a chance. Burkhardt had a chance. I believe they hit the bar at one point as well, late on with a header, which could have seen them get all 3 points. This was a good game of football, and I don't think Mainz have been in a bad game for a few weeks now. Even when they're losing games, they still seem to be playing decent. But this is the first point for them under their new management, Bo Svensson. Gav, this point for Mainz, will this give them confidence going forward? Because it's not an easy place to go to Dortmund and get a point.
No, and a new manager will create a bit of a bounce, as it normally does anyway with most clubs. To get a point away from home is giant, and I felt that they did have opportunities in the Bayern game to try and put the game to bed. They could have been 3-0 up in that game before they got paid back. So I imagine that when they did score this goal, being so late on, if you want to call it that, because it's just before the hour mark, I think there needs to still be a little bit of more, tactical awareness. You're playing against Dortmund, who are flying at the moment. If this game was say like 3-4 weeks ago, I would imagine that Mainz might actually come away with all 3 points because of the poor form that Dortmund were in. So it is a point gained, but I think they'll still be a bit wound up. But I've got the fixtures here for who Mainz have got in their next 5, and it's not looking good. They've got Wolfsburg at home, so obviously that's going to be a draw. And then they've got Leipzig at home, Stuttgart away, which isn't so bad because Stuttgart's away form is what's getting them to the heights that they're at. Then they've got Union Berlin and then Leverkusen.
Yeah,
so
3 points, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, you're right, to be fair. But no, Mainz need to, I don't know, I think they might have to just start thinking about how they're going to get back into the Bundesliga, because I can't see how they're going to pick up any points in the next 5 games at all.
Having said that, you wouldn't think they'd have got a point here.
No, you wouldn't, but this is Dortmund, the most unpredictable team in the league this season. So it's, I feel sorry for Mainz. They've been in the Bundesliga for a few years now, but I think it's time to say goodbye to them.
One thing I will say for Mainz, if they want to get anything out of any of these games coming up, they cannot play Niakate. There was a famous saying from Benzema about Vinicius Junior about I swear on my mother's life he's playing against us. Niakate has cost them 3 goals in 2 games. I think if they're going to get anything out of any of these games, they're going to have to drop him. But on to Dortmund briefly, and we'll talk about Haaland. It is 1 year that he's been in the Bundesliga, 35 games, 35 goals. Should have had another one, but they was given, it was rightfully so, offside. Florian, let's just talk about his impact, I suppose, on the Bundesliga in general since he's come over. What a talent. Do you think there's big rumours of Chelsea paying the release clause of 80 million, I believe it is, to take Haaland away from Dortmund? Do you think he will see out his contract with Dortmund firstly, and how far do you think he can go in the game?
Well, the release clause starts in the year 2022, so not this summer. And I believe Chelsea wants to sign him, or at least that's what German media says, that Chelsea wants to sign him this summer for more than the release clause. But I can't imagine Dortmund will let him go this summer. They didn't do it with Lewandowski, for example, 6 years ago. They preferred him to play another year in Dortmund and change away as a free agent, or change as a free agent. And I believe it's the same what Dortmund will do with Haaland. Haaland will leave in 2022 in summer, and someone will pay the release clause then, but they won't let him leave before. I can only imagine that maybe they extend his contract, give him a raise, and extend also the release clause from 75 million to, 125. Because to be obvious, 75 million for a player with his qualities it's no money.
Pennies. It's pennies. Yeah. He's only 20 years old as well, and like we've said it a few times about how Dortmund have become a bit reliant on Erling Haaland, but when you look at what he does and what he brings to the team, because when he first came along, he was just a striker, if that makes sense. He wouldn't really be doing any dirty work, but he didn't need to because the ball was getting to him. Players like Akanji were feeding him, and Brandt was there feeding him, and he was just there and talking Hazard. Whereas now he's doing the whole complete forward action, a little bit like Harry Kane. I think that's the only way to put it. And I'm not saying that Harry Kane and Erling Haaland are as good as each other or who's better or whatever. I'm talking about the style of play that they bring to the table. Harry Kane was very, not fox in the box, but he weren't really going to be coming home into a deeper position to make things happen. But over the last 2-3 years, he's been doing that, getting more involved with play. His link-ups have been great. His runs, he's able to duck into the channels. He can shoot with his left foot, right foot. Even though he's predominantly left-footed and we do take the pick out of his right foot, he still scored a couple of belters with his right foot as well. So it's just turning into like a rounded centre forward, and it's mad that he is only 20 years old. He's playing like in his prime of his career. So do a team go out there and get him now, or do we still need to see some form of development? But how can he develop even more?
Well, there you go. Paul Skegness Blade Lucas, who's either a Sheffield United fan or...
He is a Sheffield United fan. He's one of the darts lads. He's a good lad. How are you, Paul?
He says his off-the-ball movement is beautiful. It is. He's a very intelligent striker. I think he could go on to be... I think after your Messis and your Ronaldos have gone, you'll be looking at the next wave of best players in the world who will be fighting for Ballon d'Or every single season. I think he will be Mbappe.
Yeah, Mbappe, this generation.
I think they will be the next. They're not saying that they are going to be on Messi and Ronaldo levels, because I don't think we're going to see that again in our lifetime.
Not in our lifetime, no way.
But the next challenging for Ballon d'Ors for year after year, I think it'll be him and Mbappe, and who knows who else? Maybe Saka, or maybe
Bukayo.
Which is just called Harry Kane a fox in a box.
Fox in a box, yeah.
I need to remember that.
Oh, do you not know that one?
You don't know that one?
No, but I don't know. We say in German, we would say maybe something like Strafraumstürmer, what means striker in the box, basically.
Yeah. Fox in the box. We'll let you keep that one.
Fox in the box is way more catchy.
Oh, I love when we give Flo something like that. Do you know what I mean? He comes to us with so much. He comes to us with so much, and we actually give him some. Like it feels nice.
Wholesome. Okay, on to our next one. And this game, there's not. How's it going, Flo?
Yeah, I just wanted to say All the Gear No Idea is my favorite.
All the Gear No Idea. That is my favorite.
But you have to be careful who you say that around, because gear means something else in certain parts. But we won't get into that. On to the next one. Not much to talk about here. Cologne 0, Hertha Berlin 0. Not much going on in this game. Very few chances. One thing I would like to talk about as an Arsenal fan is the evolution of Guendouzi, I'd say. Because for me, when I see him at Hertha Berlin, he's driving this team forward.
Yes.
And he's having chances. He hit the post. With one chance, forced a good save from the Cologne goalkeeper, Timo Horn. And he seems to have kind of changed his game. At Arsenal, he was a very much deep-lying playmaker and, didn't really get forward too well. Here, he seems to be a much more box-to-box kind of guy. I suppose Gab is the best person to come to with this. Since he's been there, he's been a pretty good performance every week from him. Do you think that the rest of Hertha Berlin's players need to really step up a level, because they're not doing much? That's my cat, by the way.
Okay, what's good?
The world.
Yeah, they do, and I really like Guendouzi anyway. I just felt like his attitude was a little bit stinky at times, but name me, a player of his age group at the moment in time, like the way the world is and stuff, that hasn't got a bit of a streak about them. They all have in one way, shape or another. So I think there's a problem that runs a little bit deeper as to why he's not playing at Arsenal anymore, and I don't see how he will get back into Arsenal, because I think it might be a bit of beef between him and Arteta rather than his attitude to the game and to the club. But he's found his home there, and he is the big fish. He really is. No one else is really stepping up at the moment for Hertha. He had two really good opportunities in this game as well. One which Timo Horn was equal to, which is funny saying that because Timo Horn, not the greatest goalkeeper in the world. And the other one that hit the post, I actually thought that was in when I was watching it. I was like, why? But Hertha are a weird team. We know this anyway. It's Cologne that I've got issues at the moment now. The no wins and no goals scored in their last 5 games. They're getting dragged into some drama down the bottom, so they're going to be grateful considering how the game went. I think they're going to be very happy with this point. It's a massive point for them.
This is what I was going to ask Flo. I was going to let Flo dig the knife into Cologne. I know they're your favourite team. What is going on at Cologne? They're struggling. They went through a little period. I know they had 20 games or whatever it was without a win. Managed to get some good results, and now they've gone right back into that form before. Are they in big trouble, Florian?
They are, because the team, and this just I'm trying to say it as objective as possible.
No, open yourself up, mate. Open up. You're with the boys. Don't hide.
This Cologne team is just not good. It's not a good team. It wasn't a good team last year, and they relied on their big run. And this year they're sleeping on a pillow that's called Mainz and Schalke. I don't know, a good Bundesliga season where you don't have these extremes at top or in the bottom, like in an average Bundesliga season, they would have relegated twice, last year and this year. But they managed to play 10 games and 8 wins last year, and as it is in Cologne, they thought they're going to play Champions League. And didn't take a look at their blind sides, and now they're wondering why they're playing so bad. But they have, I don't know, and not a good goalkeeper. They are not dangerous in the box. They're only quite decent striker. Anderson is hurt, so they kind of rely on Anderson and Duda. And Duda has a crisis at the moment, at least in January. I wouldn't know what would make hope for Cologne. I don't know if they have any signings planned for January for winter transfer break, but my favorite would actually be Cologne to go down, because Schalke and Mainz at the moment they got something to gain some confidence. Schalke got Kolasinac, and they win. Mainz the game in Munich, the game in Dortmund, which shows that they're able to play with the top clubs of the league, so maybe against clubs on their level they can get secure some 3 points. They signed Dominic Kor yesterday from Eintracht Frankfurt, which is a very good signing for them. I think it's also quite good for Dominic Kor because he doesn't need to move. Mainz is right next to Frankfurt, and his wife is pregnant, so he can stay there. But, he's a player who is very good for fight for relegation. Now, he's a little bit underrated from my point of view, because he also played in Leverkusen like 50 games in 2 years, and he just doesn't look as bright if you play next to Julian Brandt or Kai Havertz, who just give the football players. He's like the working kind of player who runs a lot, does a lot of the dirty work for his team, but doesn't shine very often, gets lots of yellow cards. But these are exactly the attributes you need in a fight for relegation.
Yes.
So I believe it'll be very, very difficult for Cologne to stop relegating this year. I hope.
Quite a diplomatic reply to that. I thought you were going to start digging them out a little bit.
Yeah, they're crap. I hate them.
I can't be too loud to the office, you know.
Oh yeah, fair enough. Makes sense. Okay, let's move on to the draw specialists. Wolfsburg, Leipzig. Yet another draw for Wolfsburg. This is poor from Leipzig as well. That's now 2 games. 2 games where they've dropped points in what is supposed to be a title challenge. Let's start with Wolfsburg. One of your favourite players, Gav, Weghorst. With a headed goal, a lovely headed goal. On his 100th appearance for Wolfsburg, he scored his 53rd goal. which is quite a good record. I mean,
it's pretty much 1 and 2, isn't it?
Yeah, in these days, everyone's saying, you should have a goal a game, basically. You look at
No, not at all.
And Haaland's and Lewandowski's, and you think a striker should be scoring every game. As you said, basically 1 in every 2 games is a great return for a striker, and they've done that for Wolfsburg, so must be very happy with that return.
I think they need to really look at how to close games out, though, don't they? They've only lost 2 games this season, but they've just drawn way too many games, and they went behind in this game, and it's not the first time they've gone behind in the game. So it's almost like they need to go behind in order to be like, excuse me, it needs to be like, right, okay, boys, let's do something. But when they go ahead, it's almost like they think, oh, we've done enough now. And it really isn't. The amount of points that they've dropped from losing from losing positions has been a joke. I think they've dropped 11 points from losing positions this season, which is crazy considering that they've only lost 2 games.
Yeah. Well, when they defend like they did for the equaliser with Jonathan Brooks and Lacroix, basically in their 6-yard box, left the ball for the goalkeeper, which gave the goalkeeper all sorts of problems. He had to palm it away, and Orban was there to just tap it in from 2 yards out. That is schoolboy defending.
It was.
You learn as a defender, if the ball's in the box, you just clear it. If the goalkeeper calls for it, which I very much doubt he did in the 6-yard box, but if he does and you're unsure, you clear it anyway, and then you have that conversation with your goalkeeper.
Yeah.
Do not allow the ball to bounce between you less than 6 yards away from your goal. It's absolutely comical defending. I can't believe I saw that at the highest level in professional football. So when you defend like that, you don't deserve to win. Let's talk about Leipzig, Florian. I'll come to you. Considering they're probably the closest rivals to Bayern Munich, how damaging are results like this when you think Bayern aren't flying at the moment? They're giving away points as well. This is where you really need to put points on the board and stack up wins, so that when Bayern do hit top form, you have a little bit of headway. Do you think this is a massively damaging result for Leipzig?
Yeah, I gained the impression that it's a damaging result for Julian Nagelsmann, who is very ambitious, and I sometimes have the impression that Julian Nagelsmann is the most ambitious one on the team. So that's not the squad who wants to win championship, but it's Nagelsmann. And it's the same as last year. It's beginning to start like it was last year, not in an extreme way that they draw all their home games. Yeah, but it's still some time left. And what happens if Bayern Munich is away? They're away. So let's give us a couple of weeks. Bayern Munich will be 7 points or 8 points in the lead. No one will care about winning the championship anymore. And then, it's enough for Leipzig to draw sometimes, to lose sometimes, win most of the games. But you can't create a spirit with an attitude like this to win the championship one day. And this, I imagine, is one of the points why Julian Nagelsmann will leave Leipzig sooner or later and go to Bayern Munich.
So you think Hansi Flick is on borrowed time?
Not really. I think Flick will be there maybe for 2 years, 3 years maybe. It depends on how the situation in Munich changes. But he's 57 already. I can't imagine him being a coach or a head coach until he's 70 years old, like Jupp Heynckes, for example, was. And I can imagine that he will say from his point of view, okay, I'm just gonna finish my career in 2 years, and Julian Nagelsmann will be exactly at the right age with the right experience to follow up for him.
Well, if you look at Flick though, he's got a great record as an assistant coach. This is his first proper foray into management. People will argue and say, well, anyone can go into Bayern and win the title. You still have to get the team playing. And I felt that he took them to an even higher level last season than he ever had before. But as Flo said, he's 57. Nagelsmann is the same age as me, So he's got time, and he's from Bavaria, I believe. Is he not?
Yeah, quite close to Munich.
Yeah, so it was Ingolstadt or something. So Bayern have got everything that they need to be the best team in Germany for the next 10 years. So if Nagelsmann was to go now or next season, Nagelsmann can still be there for another 5 years. And I think that he will win the Champions League with them. And then he can pretty much turn around and pick and choose whatever club he wants to go to. By that time, he'll be coming up to 40. So it's like, that is, even though that's still young, it's still bags of experience of management at the highest level. At that point, he'd been a manager for, 10 years? So
yeah, didn't he start managing at 28?
Yeah.
Management job was 28. That's incredible.
Yeah, Hoffenheim. Yeah.
That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. Okay, so we're going to move on from Leipzig. We're going to move on to Bremen versus Augsburg. And Augsburg are struggling. They're really struggling. Bremen needed this. It's their first home win in God knows how long. And they desperately needed to put 3 points on the board. They left it late. Gabri Selassie with the first goal, which was a great finish considering he was blatantly pushed in the back.
Yes.
Great finish. And then Agu just put it to bed with the second goal in the 87th minute. Big win for Werder Bremen, Gav. I haven't got exactly the stats of when their last home win was, but it was a long time ago.
I can tell you it's only their third win in the last 23 games. At home, so it's not good enough from a Bremen point of view. And I thought that the way that they ended last season and they started this season, I thought they might just have a little bit more about them. They're still languishing in a position which could get them dragged into a bit of drama because they were just drawing way too many games. But I thought this was going to be 0-0. I'm not going to lie. It took a long time for something to happen. I'm just buzzing for Agu as well. Felix Agu. It's his first start in the Bundesliga. He gets a goal and an assist on his first start. It's only his fourth game for the club as well, after signing from Onnesbrook. So it's a big moment for him. He's got a lot of talent, and you can see it. But will he get? What upsets me about players that have got really good talent that play for Dross? It's almost like that. Are they able to do enough to help them progress into the future? Or are they just going to be looking this good at this level and then someone might take a punt on them when they're 28, 29 and it's just way too late? We've seen it loads of times in the past. I just hope it's not something that repeats again. But, what annoys me about Bremen as well, they have areas in the game where they look like they could compete with the big boys. There was that little period after half time where they were just knocking the ball around with so much confidence, just doing everything they can to break Augsburg down. And it was working to a point. There was the shot from Sargent, which just went wide in that as well. And it's just like, if that goal goes in, that changes the whole complexion of the game, and then they're able to go on and make it a more comfortable victory. So, it's going to be tough for them. They will be fine. They will survive, but they just need to keep everyone fit. I think that's what it is.
And Flo, come to you, Augsburg. Bad loss for them. Werder Bremen haven't been on the best of form. They're sitting comfortably in mid-table. But Augsburg, what do you make of them this season? I suppose they're a bit of a funny side.
Yeah, I think they're exactly at the position where they belong this season, and they need to be a little bit, need to have a little bit caution because you can't all the time rely on Cologne, Bielefeld, Mainz, Schalke just losing, because they need to grab a win at some time. And but at the moment, they're just where they need to be. In Germany, we say if you have 40 points at the end of the season, you are fine. You won't relegate. And Augsburg has 19 points after 16 games, so they got half they needed through half the season. It's quite okay, and saving the Bundesliga is everything that matters for them. So I think they will finish the season not very decent, but round about place number 12, 13, being happy about staying in the Bundesliga. And someday they will be realizing that with Heiko Herrlich as a coach, you won't make any big steps, but if the ambition is enough just to secure Bundesliga, he's okay for them.
Augsburg are the palace of the Bundesliga.
Yeah.
That's who they are.
but just a little more modern.
The Palace.
Yeah.
I mean, Augsburg can't spend 40 million on Benteke.
And they got Zaha either.
They probably shouldn't.
Yeah.
Palace are my local team, by the way. I live like 10 minutes from the ground.
Yeah, I saw that on in your Instagram stories. I knew in Croydon or something like this, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know East Croydon because when I was with school in London for a school trip, it's where we lived. It was even far.
Why did they do that?
Behind. Yeah, it wasn't.
That's how English people live.
Well, I don't know. It was,
mate, your school don't like you.
And we needed an hour to go to the city center.
Yeah.
I hated it. And one time, me and 3 guys, we just flew from our you can't even call it a hotel. It was just horrible. It was rubbish. And just to go
straight up digs
to visit all the stadiums. So one day we visited, I don't know, Upton Park, West Ham, the old White Hart Lane, Olympic Stadium. We're just trying to make a stadium hopping. But we were not too allowed to. We had to go to, I don't know, Shakespeare or something like this.
Right, let's do the next one. Hoffenheim at home to Arminia Bielefeld. This one will not take long. There's very little to talk about in this game. 2 sides who are just dreadful at football at the moment. Very little bright sparks for either side. The only player who really came out of this looking decent, again, was Ritsu Duan.
Shock.
Who looked decent and has looked decent in many matches for them this season. Hoffenheim are struggling. They are they're I want to swear, but they're very bad. Flo, at the beginning of the season, you thought they might be able to surprise some people. I think they have surprised them, but in a bad way. What's gone wrong with Hoffenheim?
I don't know. This match in German, we say Not gegen Elend, what means, I don't know, tragedy against misery, something like that. This is always exactly what describes a match like this. They're just totally insecure, Hoffenheim. I can't believe they're a little bit happy that they didn't lose this game against Bielefeld because pressure was high on them. And I don't know if it's the right time to talk about sacking their coaches, but there can't be seen any progress in Hoffenheim.
Well, they're in the last stages of the Europa League. You know, I'm not saying they go on and win it, but you never know what can happen. Yeah. And especially if the season ends up going anything like how it did last year, we might end up having one-off games in the Europa League. So they've focused their heart and soul into doing a bit. How good have they been in the Europa League? You know, not just I know you can look at the opposition and whatever, but just the swagger that they've had. So they might be able to shock a few teams when it gets to the latter stage of that tournament. And if it is over one leg, you know, so it's the same gaffer. So I don't know about sacking the gaffer yet, but you can't be happy with a 0-0 draw against Arminia Bielefeld.
Yeah, they're just not clicking at all, Hoffenheim. I'd be very worried if I was a Hoffenheim fan. Arminia Bielefeld, it's an important point away from home. Every point counts at this moment. Any point that you get over the likes of Cologne, Mainz and Schalke is a bonus. And they're hoping that's going to be enough to keep them in the league.
It's 7 points for Bielefeld now between them and direct relegation spot to Mainz. So 7 points. It's quite okay. They would have taken that before.
Right.
Season started.
Let's move on because that game was very poor. The game was actually quite good. Stuttgart at home to Mönchengladbach, and Stindl continues scoring, Gonzalez continues scoring, Wemana Gatuka continues scoring, and then someone else pops up with a goal. Sakaria gets one, which is very rare.
Good finish though. Good finish.
Great. I like him. From when he first went there. I thought he was good, and then he kind of dropped off the radar, had a few injuries or whatnot. But a good player. Last ditch equaliser from Wemana Gatuka, and it was a blatant penalty, and he put it away. It's a lovely penalty. There's no way the goalkeeper saving that. Two of the most entertaining sides in the league in recent times. I'll come to you first, Gav. What did you make of this game?
This game was literally played like a derby match. I loved it. It was madness, man. Honestly, it reminded me of a proper mid-90s old school derby match. Loads of local players that wear their team's badge on their chest with pride, and they were just going for it for the whole lot. I don't understand how Felix Brett kept his card in his pocket for so long. I really don't. But Stuttgart they're going to be struggling in the next couple of games because they're going to be without Gonzalez and without Wamanga Tuka as well, both suspended for the next game for picking up too many yellow cards. So no, it was brilliant. I feel that a 2-2 draw is the most comfortable, is the most correct result to go behind this, because both teams had their opportunities to put the game to bed. Gonzalez anyway, the cross from Castro, man, was just, I think I put it in the WhatsApp group, didn't I? I was like, Nico, you know what I mean?
And then a little bit like the Van Persie header in the World Cup.
That's what I thought.
It was, wasn't it? Just flying in the air. But then you think at that point it's like, right, okay, we just brought it back to even Stevens. We're going to be okay. Let's settle down a little bit. And Zakaria, it's a great finish, but once again, like, what's he doing in that position? Brilliant Bolo is a dead striker. Said this a couple of times, and it showed like just how important player is to them as well. And when Thuram comes back, Mönchengladbach will be a bit more of a force again at top.
Interesting fact about Brilem Bolo, and brand new, so latest stuff. He was suspended from Gladbach for the next match because he didn't behave properly to the Corona regulations, which are for the professional football players in Germany.
Oh, it's probably doing him a favour.
Yeah, funny story after the match. The media said he was at a party in a bar, a private party in a bar in a city quite close to Gladbach with, 50 slightly dressed women and a couple of men. That's what the neutral media said, the tabloid media. And he and Gladbach said nothing, and he said, I was at a friend's house to watch NBA, who just lived right next to that bar. What a coincidence.
Imagine that.
Yeah, he's suspended until he can show, I believe it's 3 negative corona tests. So maybe he won't be able to play the weekend also. So not just tomorrow and not just today, but also maybe on the weekend.
Okay. Let's move on swiftly to our next one. And that is Bayern at home to Freiburg. Freiburg, who were the informed team coming into this game after having 5 wins on the bounce. Didn't start off too well. Lewandowski with the first goal. Absolute peach of a through ball from Muller.
He's a stat padder. He doesn't ever score important goals. He never scores openers. He only ever scores when the team's like when they're 4-0 up or something like that. Yeah,
but
of course,
the ball
right.
from Muller, the first time pass with his left foot, absolute peach of a pass. And you know what, Muller, a lot of people don't look at they look at him and don't think he's this is where the eye test fails you, because if you look at Muller, you wouldn't see that he's a very intelligent, very technically gifted footballer. And that through ball that he played first time with his left foot, if that was Lionel Messi, we'd all be seeing that all over for weeks. Pettersson got a goal from the subs bench, shock horror. First touch, scored with a diving header. And then Muller got the winner on the 74th minute. But Freiburg could have equalised. They hit the bar. I think it was Pettersson again. I might be wrong.
Yeah, it's Pettersson, yeah.
Right at the end of the game, could have made it 2-2, which would have been I think it would have been deserved. I don't think Freiburg were that bad in this game, but Bayern, doing what they need to do to get the win. Flo, I'll come to you with this one. What did you make of Bayern's performance in this, especially Leroy Sané, who seemed to be a bit more engaged in this one? He seemed to be a bit more.
He urged you. That's what it was, Flo. Devo. He urged you. So, not going to be Devo's worst team of the year, boy.
No, he seemed to step up a bit.
Yeah, I think it was a deserved win for Bayern Munich, although it was quite lucky in the end. And looking at Leroy Sané, I believe he's showing a good reaction to what happened in the Leverkusen match a short time before Christmas when he was subbed in and subbed off in the match. And he needs to prove himself more. And he looks at least a little bit more interested in doing that. A little bit more interested in doing some dirty work for the team. And not just relying on his great abilities he obviously has.
And Gav, a quick word on Freiburg as well, who came into this, as I said, as the form side in the league, and almost left with a point as well. They're doing really well, aren't they?
It's mad. Well. Because before their run, I think we even said it as well that it's a good chance that they could get dragged into a relegation fight. They're knocking around down the bottom of the table. It's not looking good for them. Now, at the moment, as it stands, they are 5 points off a European spot. In fact, they're 3 points off a European spot. I lie. So, it's amazing what a little bit of run of form can do, Arsenal. So, it's they will not feel. I don't think they'll feel too aggrieved because they put a really good account of themselves. And once again, it's another team that are all playing for each other and actually wanting the best for the greater good. So, they are. Let's have a look. They are 11 points above the 16th dread zone spot. So they're fine. They're fine. And we have a look at their fixtures. Their next few fixtures. They've got Frankfurt at home tomorrow. They've got Stuttgart at home, which is going to be a difficult one, obviously, because Stuttgart love playing away from home, as we said. The draw specialist, Wolfsburg. Then they've got Dortmund at home, and then Werder Bremen away. So there's games in there after the form that they've been showing that will give them confidence to get out of those 5 games, 8 points.
And do you think realistically Freiburg could be looking at sneaking into Europe?
The
Europa League.
Of course they should. When it comes like, even though you've got your teams like Gladbach that are knocking around there, Wolfsburg are up there. Freiburg are they're playing some good football at the moment, and they're working for each other. They've got Huller there as well. Like he's like doing all right. Peterson is coming off the bench. Yeah, exactly. So it's. They just need to keep doing what they're doing. They're quietly going about their business. So that's all they need to keep doing. And then, we'll see where they are in March time, April. And then, another conversation could be had by then.
And this is a quick word on Lewandowski before we move on to the final game. Can he reach Gerd Muller's record? 40 goals, I believe it is. Gerd Muller sits on, which is a ridiculous amount of goals in 34 games. It's ridiculous. But it looks like Lewandowski's on pace to do it. Do we think he could realistically break that record?
I could not imagine this to happen anytime in the Bundesliga because Gerd Muller was just a phenomenon. Mm-hmm. And what Lewandowski's doing is just insane. He's getting better every year. And I believe he won't stop getting better until he will break this record.
Augsburg, Schalke, Hoffenheim, Arminia Bielefeld, 4 of their next 5 games. He is going to break this record.
But if he could realistically, out of those 4 games, he could come away with about 9 goals.
Yeah.
Realistically.
And that puts him on 30 goals.
Bayern really want to put them to the sword, like we've seen previously with Schalke and other sides. And then there's a team that they usually put 6 or 7 past every season. I can't remember off the top of my head who it is.
They normally win 5-1 against Frankfurt and then lose 4-1 against Frankfurt.
There's a team that usually put 6 or 7 past every season. Oh, it's Hamburg. They're no longer in the league.
Hamburg, Bremen also happens very often to Bremen.
Yeah, Bremen. Yeah, those 6 past them.
Dortmund got a couple of times they got 5 or 4 against Munich.
Yeah. So.
The thing with Bayern, before we run on, the thing with Bayern is the fact that when it's a bit tetchy, like at the moment, like before the game day 16, it's like, they're in second, they're top, but they're only a point clear, this, that, and the other. As soon as they get that cushion, they are free to rock. They're gone, and that's what you don't want. You don't want that cushion to be happening now. They're 4 points ahead, so it's a critical time for the other teams in and around them, and they need to make sure that they capitalise if and when Bayern drop points in the next few weeks.
Okay, so we're going to go from the top to the very bottom. Well, not very bottom, because they came off the bottom after their win last week.
Back there, though.
Back there now, yeah. Eintracht Frankfurt 3, Schalke 1. Now, this is the story of a return. Luka Jovic is back at Eintracht Frankfurt on loan from Real Madrid, and he's back with a bang. 2 goals to celebrate his return. that looks like a very, very fruitful partnership with him and Andre Silva. And Andre Silva scored a Dav Mac special, a mishitted shot.
This is what I'm saying. The commentators all like, oh yeah, you know, he's scored 12 goals this season. The only person ahead of him is Lewandowski. Don't put Lewandowski and Andre Silva in the same conversation. That ball bounced off him. He miscontrolled it and somehow was still able to get a shot away, and it went in the back of the net.
The control was good because it came to him very quickly. I'm
surprised it got up for a throw-in. That's how bad the control was. It was awful, man.
He shanked the finish. But it went in the bottom corner, and that's all that counts. And then literally a minute later, Schalke's new wonder kid, Hoppe, managed to score. Again, terrible defending from Hinteregger, who left the ball for the goalkeeper, had no chance to get into it. And Hoppe had his goal. That's 4 shots for him this season and 4 goals. How long can that last? We'll see. But Schalke end up losing 3-1 due to Luka Jovic coming on and bagging a brace. How important do you think this signing is for Frankfurt going forward? I'll come to you first, Flo.
It's very important to create spirit and confidence around the team and the fans. Because if there would have been fans in the stadium, I don't know, the roof would have been exploded in that match. Luka Jovic, not only Luka Jovic scoring 2 goals, but also their captain, David Abraham, ended his professional career. Yeah. And will go back to Argentina to spend some time with his son. Massive respect for that. And Jovic, I believe trading Jovic against Bastos is not the worst deal you can make.
It's a great deal. It makes me like Frankfurt again. You know what I mean?
And not just Jovic. We also had obviously Kostic and Jovic had a great partnership when he was there the first time, and Kostic got the 2 assists for Jovic as well. So it's almost like it's going to bring him out and get his best back. Frankfurt aren't doing too badly, but do you think this signing can really see them, push for those European places?
Yeah. Yes, it can. Yes, it can. They are
very good attacking players. I like Kamada as well.
I like Kamada.
He's a great player.
It's sometimes players need confidence in order to grow, and the fact that Kostic has got his old pal back is going to be so important to them. I knew Jovic was going to score. Stephen Cotton, who is the co-founder of the Top page, he messaged Skybet and said, "What are the odds? What odds can you offer me on Luka Jovic scoring at least 10 Bundesliga goals?" And they rejected it.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
Yeah. Now look, like he scores 2. He scores 2 on his return. So he just needs 8 goals in his next 17 games with 18 games, which is going to happen. They're looking nice as well. If results go their way, they could bounce up to
3 points behind Leverkusen in third.
Right. They can have your shoulder.
Yeah. Well, I would love to see Frankfurt or Union Berlin on the 7th spot at the end of the season. Not because they're rivals of Leverkusen, but because I'm pretty sure that 7th spot will be the place where you will qualify for the Conference League. Because I guess the cup will be won by a team which will play in the Champions League afterwards. So Leipzig, Dortmund, Leverkusen maybe, or Gladbach. But Union Berlin and Frankfurt, they will love this new cup, because Union Berlin, for them, it's the first time in Europe. They will go to anywhere with a couple of thousand people. And for Frankfurt, it's the same. They're so fanatic, so insane. They will go with 4,000 or 5,000 to Azerbaijan. No one cares.
Yeah.
Love it. They just love playing international.
Man, honestly, I would love it if Union made it into Europe. It would just be an absolute European tour. They'd be loving life, man.
Right, I think it's about time for Wolfram's words of wisdom. Let me just find my thing here. 1 second. There we go. Sorry.
Wolfram's words of wisdom.
All right. Off you go.
Yeah, it's just a little heads up. And, you can see Youssoufa Moukoko and Florian Wirtz, the 2 youngest Bundesliga goal scorers ever. This picture isn't even a year old. It was taken in it was, I believe, in February or March last year, and they played in the under 19 team against each other, although they were under 17 players. Yeah, and now they're rocking the Bundesliga. And although they're the two youngest goal scorers, Moukoko scored his first Bundesliga goal 1 year earlier than Wirtz did. So Moukoko did it with 16 years and 28 days, and Wirtz did it with 17 years and 34 days. So two very promising players. And I would like to know from you two, but maybe also from everyone who's watching or listening to it, who do you think will be is the more promising? Who will be on a better level in the future? Because I don't know, Moukoko is obviously younger, but Wirtz has made 30 appearances for Leverkusen, 6 goals, 6 assists, which is massive for 17 years old.
I think Florian Wirtz. I think Wirtz, there's something special about him in the way that he gets in. He's kind of leading the charge for a side at 17 years old. Whereas I think Moukoko is just going to get on the end of things, and he's going to be a great goal scorer. But I think Wirtz is going to be more involved in games, and more hopes are going to be put on him to kind of drag the team forward and get them out of tight spots. I think Wirtz is a special talent.
I'm with Devo, to be honest. I think because Moukoko is the goal scorer, people will talk about him more. But I think as we get older and when they're in their early 20s, mid-20s, we'll have a level of appreciation for what other players do in the team other than scoring goals. I'm hoping that we get to a point where we look at Ballon d'Or winners and it's not always like this person's going to win the Ballon d'Or or FIFA Player of the Year because they scored the most goals. I mean, that's what's been happening for so many years. Florian Wirtz, he's another player with just such cultured head on his shoulders. He's way too intelligent for the age that he is. So
on the pitch,
on the pitch,
just on the pitch.
On the pitch, he's probably dumb as hell, isn't he? He hasn't got any GCSEs.
I wouldn't say that. I don't know him personally, but from what I saw, he behaves more intelligent on the pitch than off the pitch.
Fair.
Bit of scandal there. Okay, shall we have a look at the table? Let's have a look at the table. And we're going to have a look at the bottom half of the table first. And there we go. And look at that, right back where they belong. Schalke in the 18th position. It lasted a week. Schalke back at the bottom of the table due to their inferior goal difference at Mainz. 17th, moving up in the world. And then we got 16th, we got Cologne. What's that? That's bad. 5 points above Mainz. My math is terrible. 15th, no movement for them, no movement for Hoffenheim after their draw. Hertha Berlin slip a place thanks to Werder Bremen's win. Hertha Berlin in 13th, Werder Bremen in 12th. Augsburg and then Stuttgart making up the bottom half of the table. As we move into the top half, Freiburg, after their loss, slipped down to 9th, as do Mönchengladbach from their point. Frankfurt moving up in the world after their 3-1 victory over Schalke, move up to 7th. Wolfsburg on the same amount of points as Frankfurt in 6th. And then we have Union Berlin in 5th. No movement in the rest of the table here. Union Berlin in 5th. Dortmund in 4th. Bayer Leverkusen in 3rd. Leipzig in 2nd. Bayern Munich are now 4 points clear at the top of the table. And that's probably going to be an unassailable lead. I'd imagine it's going to be Bayern Munich again. Let's look at the fixtures. And remember, there are fixtures being played today due to English week. And there's some big games this week, this midweek, and game week 17. We're kicking off with Mönchengladbach at home to Werder Bremen, and that one kicks off at 5:30 English time, 6:30 over there in Germany. The evening kickoffs at 7:30. You have Leverkusen at home to Dortmund. That is a tasty fixture.
Mm-hmm.
Berlin at home to Hoffenheim. That's a bit of a bottom of the table clash. Someone could really do it for 3 points there. That's an interesting game as well. Mainz at home to Wolfsburg, the draw specialist. Mainz will be hoping to pick up 3 points there. They desperately need it. And if we look at the Wednesday fixtures, that is a massive, massive game at 5:30. Schalke at home to Cologne. Something has to give. Can Schalke get another win? Can Cologne stop their horrible, horrible form? Can they get a goal? Just a goal would be a
yeah, a goal would be lovely.
Goal would be nice. On to the evening fixtures. You have Leipzig at home to Berlin. Another tasty fixture there. Berlin could really put down a marker there by taking 3 points in that game. Freiburg looking to get back into winning ways after they lost to Dortmund. They take on Eintracht Frankfurt, who are now rejuvenated thanks to Luka Jovic. Augsburg at home to Bayern Munich, and that looks like it's going to be another tricky day for Augsburg. Can Lewandowski add to his stat padding season? And Arminia Bielefeld at home to VfB Stuttgart, and you'd imagine Stuttgart will be licking their lips with or without Silas and Gonzalez.
You say that though, but the games that are involving Bielefeld this season have been the least scoring games. Like there's been less goals in games that feature Bielefeld than anyone else, which is madness.
And as Flo said before we was on air, that's actually what's funny is Bielefeld finished above Stuttgart in Zweite Bundesliga last season, and that's strange to think about when you look at the way they've both come into this league. You would never ever assume Stuttgart finished below Bielefeld last season. So,
well, that's I think the unique point about our second league that it doesn't matter the most or which team has the most technical abilities or which is the best team in playing football. You promote if you're the team who is the best fighting, kind of. If you are able to take on the fight and play football maybe at the same time. But second Bundesliga is such a rough league to play. And it's not attractive to watch, I can tell. But
we get the odd game over here. I've seen a few games. Grua Fort, they put in a bit of scrap. They've played some nice football at times. Who else down there? Nuremberg.
Bochum play, and they've got a centre back who I rate highly. I watched him, and he was Bela Kotchop. I think he's only 18 or something like that, and he looks solid. I think he could be one for the future.
Bochum always remind me of Eric Wijnaldum, the American international from World Cup '98. I don't know why. It's just when I think of Bochum, I instantly think of Eric Wijnaldum.
All right, guys. So that's it for our special English Week Tuesday edition of the Bundesliga show. Thanks for watching. Remember, you can find us on the socials. You have my handle on the screen is at DevoLDN. Sorry, got my own handle wrong. What is going on? Gav Mac at 2UpTop Football, and Florian you can find at Senior_Loberon on Instagram. He's too cool for Twitter. That's the same joke we do every single and it never gets old. But yeah, thanks guys, and from myself, from Florian, and from Gav Mac, this has been